check update for you for today, January 3rd. And today we're going to be talking about the $2,000 stimulus check update, direct deposit. Um, Great news. A vote in Congress too, also as well. And I guess let's get right into it. If you're interested in learning more about the stimulus check updates going on with your stimulus, the $600 stimulus check or the $2,000 stimulus check, definitely what you need to do is hit the subscribe button below the YouTube video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also hit the bell notification so you won't miss any videos as we make them here on this channel. So basically what has been going on is that there has been a vote in the House of Representatives which passed the $2,000 stimulus checks less than 2 weeks ago. And basically, the name of the bill was called the Cash Act. And that was passed already in the House of Representatives with an overwhelming majority vote there too also as well. And it was sent over to the Senate. And a lot of things has been going on so far with the Senate. We have a number of Republicans who support the $2,000 stimulus checks, and we have the majority of the Democrats who support the $2,000 stimulus check. Also, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has come out on Twitter and demanded the $2,000 stimulus check on December 22nd in a video on Twitter, which we went over here in one of our live streams. So that's pretty much what started all of this. It started the vote from the House of Representatives on the $2,000 check, and also the discussion and the debate, which went on all this week on the $2,000 stimulus checks. So the bill called the Cash Act has made it to the Senate, and therefore, they were given an opportunity to debate it during, between all of the senators there in the Senate. So what we have here now, I'm going to have to share this screen with you here, is Senator Lindsey Graham, who is a senator from South Carolina, who came out and said on Twitter, with all due respect to my Republican colleagues, a $2,000 direct payment for individuals and families who are struggling is not socialism. And the reason why he had said this is in response actually to Mitch McConnell, who is the senator of Kentucky and also the majority leader in the Senate. So it's up to Senator Mitch McConnell to bring a bill to the floor of the Senate for a vote. Mitch McConnell, he had objected 4 times this week to the $2,000 stimulus check. So he did not allow any of the senators to make a vote on the $2,000 stimulus checks because he claimed that it was socialism for the rich. So which a lot of the experts cannot understand why he made that statement, socialism for the rich, because the government has been giving out billions of dollars to foreign countries. And the $600 bill that passed the House and the Senate with the $600 stimulus check, another bill was attached to it for government spending, which sent over $44 billion to foreign countries, whereas at the same time, we have millions of Americans who are hurting right now because of the coronavirus. Over 300,000 Americans died because of it. And right now we have over 20 million cases because of this pandemic. 12 million small businesses shut down and will not reopen. Over 20 million people have lost their jobs. And the lines at the food banks have gone into the tens of thousands. So poverty has increased tremendously. So that's the state we are in. And also at the same time, the Senate proceeded to make a vote on the defense spending bill, which also costs an additional $740 billion plus, which was spent on contractors for the military, um, or the military industrial complex, as they call it, which only a small percentage, I believe is 3%, was given to actually the military um, servicemen, soldiers who got a 3% raise. But the rest of the money went to the military complex. So, socialism for the rich is what Mitch McConnell was saying. He just, in my opinion, just wanted to come up with excuses on why he should not pass the $2,000 stimulus checks and why he should not allow the senators to at least make a vote on the $2,000 stimulus check. So as you see here, Lindsey Graham is saying that's not true. It's not socialism. Okay, these are for individuals and families who are struggling. And he also went on to say that, in my view, it is necessary in the times which we live. Also, we have a tweet that came out here today, 11 o'clock this morning, from the Reverend Raphael Warnock, who is one of the Democrat candidates for the Georgia runoff election, which is going to be Raphael Warnock also, and Ossoff against Perdue, Senator Perdue, and the other senators. So it's pretty much two Republican senators against two Democrat challengers. So basically, the two incumbents against two challengers. And Raphael went on to say on Twitter, "We asked Georgians why they needed a $2,000 relief check. And this is what we heard: get Georgians the relief they need now." And as you see here, a little illustration here, it says bills, mortgage, credit card debt, electric bill, hospitals bills, rent, car repair, electrical bills, groceries, prescriptions, car loan, doctor bills. So Americans need to help for many things that they need to get caught up on. Also in the news, which was also breaking less than 3 days ago, is that Mitch McConnell's home was vandalized after he blocked the $2,000 stimulus checks at least 4 times. He prevented and he stopped the senators in the Senate from voting on the $2,000 stimulus check. So this is what the front door of his home looked like in Louisville. And it says, "Where's my money?" on the front door. And the money is referring to the $2,000 stimulus checks because he had blocked the $2,000 stimulus checks 4 times, and he stopped all the senators from voting on it. He prevented it. He's the only one that pretty much was standing in the way of us getting our $2,000 stimulus checks. So if you are on this live stream, whether you are on Facebook or you on YouTube or Periscope, remember, it's very important. Call your United States senators in your state and tell them that you want a $2,000 stimulus check. Okay, what we need to do is we need to keep the pressure on. We need to keep the pressure on these senators and let them know that we are serious about our $2,000 stimulus checks, because the $600 stimulus check is definitely not enough. It does not go far enough to help people with their rent. In most states, the $600 stimulus check does not even pay rents. So Americans desperately need a $2,000 stimulus check. So remember to call your United States senator. So this is all another graffiti that was painted on Mitch McConnell's home in Louisville. Now we also have one of our heroes who have been fighting to get us our $2,000 stimulus checks, by the name of Senator Bernie Sanders, the United States Senator from Vermont. And he's been fighting all week, despite opposition from Mitch McConnell, the leader in the Senate, who would not allow a vote on the $2,000 stimulus check. And also, despite opposition from the other Republicans, the number 2 senator in the Senate, Senator Thune from South Dakota, who's also standing in the way of us getting our $2,000 stimulus checks, who President Donald Trump had got angry at because he went against the $2,000 stimulus checks. And President Trump wants to primary him in 2022 Senate election, which Senator Thune is up for election in 2022. And he wants to hopefully replace him with the Governor Kristi Noem from South Dakota, who I don't know if she will even run for a senator of South Dakota. But Donald Trump says there's many waiting in line for Senator Thune's job. So that's what happens when a lot of these Republican senators, they go against Trump and what Trump wants. Trump has a unique way, a very powerful way of replacing them and taking their jobs and replacing their jobs with other people who is more in line and with what President Trump wants, which is the $2,000 stimulus check for all of us. So let's hear a little bit of what Bernie Sanders had to say while he was fighting all week for us to get our $2,000 stimulus checks in the Senate. Let's listen in. So that's pretty much some of what Senator Bernie Sanders, the senator from Vermont, had to say in response to Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's statement, giving the reason why he would not allow a vote on the $2,000 stimulus checks, saying that it is socialism for the rich. And Bernie Sanders brought up some good points there, including saying that, Amazon received $120 million in tax breaks, and Chevron received $181 million in tax breaks. That is socialism for the rich. So to say after Mitch McConnell and the Republicans in the Senate want to give out billions of dollars to the rich, Amazon, Chevron, and multi-billion-dollar corporations, billions of dollars to overseas, $700 billion plus to the military-industrial complex, which they passed into law just yesterday. But yet still, they refuse to even make a simple vote on giving us a $2,000 check. So Donald Trump also said it was wrong. That's why Donald Trump had vetoed the defense spending bill, which the Senate went ahead and overrode his veto yesterday with a 80 plus vote in the Senate. So Senator Chuck Schumer also, he gave speeches in these debates, pushing and fighting for a vote on the $2,000 checks, the bill that was passed by the House called the Cash App. And this is was listening a little of what Senator Chuck Schumer, who's the minority Democrat leader, had to say. So there you have it. It's Mitch McConnell objecting again, which he objected 4 times. He blocked the $2,000 checks from coming up to the floor of the Senate for a vote 4 times this week. And as you can see, Americans are very angry with Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, for doing that, especially now during a pandemic. And you can't really tell me that after 9 months of being through a pandemic, all the Americans get is a small, measly $600 check. I mean, that's was just like a slap in the face to many people. And with Mitch McConnell blocking it, I believe, in my opinion, there's not going to be many people voting for the Republicans on in the runoff election on the 5th, which is actually Tuesday in Georgia, because of what Mitch McConnell had did by blocking it so much, and because of what these Republicans like Senator John Thune had said to block the $2,000 checks, especially if they realize that these Republicans and the Senate Majority Leader are not acting in our best interests. As you can see here, Business Insider put out an article 17 hours ago that said that nearly half of Americans blame Republicans and McConnell, and 32% blame Democrats and Pelosi for the lack of $2,000 stimulus checks. And this was a new poll. And that's just really, really amazing. But people are watching, and they see what's going on. Maybe not everyone pays attention to politics as much as other people do. Maybe not everyone pays attention to politics as much as I do. But, most of them, the majority of Americans know it's only pretty much one person blocking or standing in the way of us getting our $2,000 checks, and that's Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, okay, and the Republicans. So I don't know how that's going to work out in the Georgia runoff come Tuesday. Are the people of Georgia going to elect Senator Perdue and Loeffler, 2 Republicans, to the Senate, and keep Mitch McConnell in power as the leader of the Senate, who is blocking us from receiving our $2,000 checks? Or are they going to vote for Ralph Warnock, a Democrat, and Ossoff, another Democrat, who is challenging them in the Georgia elections in order for us to receive our $2,000 checks? Because if we elect Warnock and Ossoff, the 2 Democrats, then Mitch McConnell would no longer be the leader of the Senate. Now, Chuck Schumer would be the leader of the Senate, and they can put forward the $2,000 stimulus checks to the floor of the Senate for a vote. Okay. And it will not, Mitch McConnell cannot stand in the way of that. He cannot block it from coming to a vote anymore. So what because today starts a new Congress, which is the 117th Congress, what they would have to do is they would have to create a new bill. Okay, either the Senate would have to create a new bill or the House would have to create a new bill. And the new bill would have to be voted on in both chambers, the House and the Senate. The reason why they would have to create a new bill and they cannot use the Cash Act, which was passed already in the House of Representatives, is that the Cash Act, which has the $2,000 checks in it, is no longer good. It's no longer, it's void, in other words, because of the end of the 116th Congress, which ended officially today. And today we started a new Congress, the 117th Congress. The new Congress men and women who won their elections in November have been sworn in today into the Senate and the House. And the House is actually having an election to choose their uh, speaker, who will be Speaker of the House. So now the nominees are Nancy Pelosi and Senate um, House of the House of Representatives Minority Leader of the Republicans, Kevin McCarthy. So the election is going on right now. Will the House of Representatives choose Nancy Pelosi again to be Speaker of the House? We don't know. But in my opinion, I'm not too fond of Nancy Pelosi being Speaker of the House because if you look at the damage that has been done in the November elections, um, almost 15 Democrats have lost their seats to Republicans in the House of Representatives with Nancy Pelosi in charge. And Nancy Pelosi, we could have gotten a $1,200 stimulus check back in September or October if Nancy Pelosi was not continuing to say no to many of the offers that was coming down from Secretary Stephen Mnuchin and the White House and Mark Meadows, the chief of staff. So we could have had a $1,200 stimulus check, and then this $600 would have been an extra stimulus check, and we would have been now still pushing for the $2,000 stimulus checks right now. But if the options are Nancy Pelosi or Kevin McCarthy, well, let's look at Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy, when before the $2,000 checks were passed in the House of Representatives less than 2 weeks ago, the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi, they tried to make a unanimous vote, meaning that if one Republican or one Democrat objected and voted no, that would just destroy the passing of the bill in the House. So that's what happened. Kevin McCarthy objected, and that was the end of the unanimous vote for the $2,000 checks to get passed through the House. So what they had to do, they had to wait to come back the following Monday and make a regular vote on it. And they did, in fact, pass it in the House. And we had 44 Republicans who voted yes for the $2,000 checks. And Kevin McCarthy came back with his own bill and tried to pass it through the House to get a unanimous vote on another aspect of what President Trump wanted. He wanted to address the unnecessary spending in the government spending bill, which it did not pass because you had at least one person object to it, and that destroyed the passing of that bill by unanimous vote. But Kevin McCarthy did not include a $2,000 stimulus check. So, in my opinion, I mean, I really am not fond of Nancy Pelosi, but I do not want Kevin McCarthy to be the Speaker of the House if that's the only choices that we have. So next we have Bernie Sanders again, who he explains why he agrees with Trump on the $2,000 stimulus checks. And I guess we should listen a little to what he had to say there. So that's what Bernie Sanders had to say about why he agrees with Trump on the stimulus checks is because there's many people who are in desperate need right now, who can benefit. Now, if you can benefit from getting a $2,000 stimulus checks, let me know inside of the comments too. Also, if you could benefit from getting a $2,000 stimulus check, let me know inside of the comments. And I can't begin to repeat this enough that you should, and we all should call your United States senators in your state and tell them you want a $2,000 stimulus check. You know, we need to keep the pressure on these senators. I know a new Congress has started today. Um, and there are a few new senators in there, and there are a few representatives in the House of Representatives. But we need to call them and let them know that we want our $2,000 stimulus check, so that way they can take us seriously. Now, as you know, Bernie Sanders, he pretty much was pressing the Senate for a vote on these $2,000 stimulus checks. And we could see him here continuing to fight for us so that we can get our $2,000 stimulus checks. So there we have it. Now we have Bernie Sanders pleading for a vote, asking Senator Mitch McConnell, Senator John Thune from South Dakota, and other of the Republican senators, what is the problem? Basically saying, what is the problem? Why can't we have a vote on the $2,000 stimulus checks? Okay. And he says, he says, pretty much, I understand that you guys are not in $2,000 stimulus checks. I understand that you don't want the $2,000 stimulus checks. I understand that you probably will vote no on the $2,000 stimulus checks. But again, what is the problem with us having a vote? Why can't we have a vote? In other words, so in my opinion, that is not democracy. Democracy is when people are allowed to vote. If the Republicans do not want us to have a $2,000 stimulus check, then they could vote no to the $2,000 stimulus check. That's democracy, right? And if the Democrats want us to have a $2,000 stimulus check, then they could go ahead and vote yes to the $2,000 stimulus check. That is democracy, right? It's a free, it's the right to vote. It's the right to express your opinion. It's the right to vote. That is what Mitch McConnell is not allowing the Senate to do. Okay. So that's why, in my opinion, Mitch McConnell, majority leader, he just has to go. If you live in Kentucky, you need to call Senator Mitch McConnell and tell him to put the $2,000 checks up to the floor for a vote, to pass the $2,000 stimulus checks. Because what he's doing is really unfair to millions of Americans. So Senator Chuck Schumer, the minority leader, has said that he and the other Democrats will continue the fight for the $2,000 stimulus checks. So hopefully they will continue to do that. The new senators, the new representatives in the House of Representatives have been sworn in today. And they're getting everything set up for the new Congress. And hopefully they will put the $2,000 checks up for the floor for a vote, or maybe create a new bill. because the other bill that was passed through the House is no good right now because we have a new Congress. Any bills that were not passed through the Senate or the House of Representatives before the new Congress started today is no good. I'm not talking about the bills that passed. The bills that passed, like the one that has our $600 stimulus check, the extra $300 in unemployment, the rental assistance, and all of those things. Those bills are good because they passed. They were signed by the president. They passed both chambers also as well. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and recognize some of your comments. I'll try to get to as many of your comments as I possibly can. If I skip your comment or I didn't get to it, please, be patient with me or just simply forgive me because I may not be able to get to all of your comments. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you join our YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel using the subscribe button below this video on YouTube, and hit the bell notification also as well. And give this video a thumbs up. Give this video a like so that way we can put this video in front of more people, because it's very important that the people continue to put pressure on these senators and let them know we want our $2,000 stimulus check. So far, it is working. From some sources, I have heard that the Republicans that have objected and stopped us from getting a vote in the Senate on the $2,000 stimulus checks are pretty much turning around slowly and saying to the Republican Party that, hey, we need to pass the $2,000 stimulus checks or we may lose the election in Georgia, which most of the polls right now are saying that the Republicans are going to lose in Georgia and the two Democrats are ahead. Well, I could pretty much understand why. I can see why now, because Senator Perdue, for example, for a year, he has been ranting about how we do not need a stimulus check at all. Senator Perdue has said that he doesn't want us to get a stimulus check, period. Okay. And it was not until a few days before today when Donald Trump came out on December 22nd and he said that he wants us to get a $2,000 stimulus check and he wants it passed through Congress so he could sign it on his desk. Then Senator Perdue all of a sudden had a change of heart and wants to pass a $2,000 stimulus check. Why? Because his election is coming up Tuesday. But after election day, you can best believe he's not going to want anybody to get stimulus checks. And he's going to go back to his view he had before the election time. So I can see why the Democrats have a high chance, and it's more likely that the Democrats will take over the Senate because of what Mitch McConnell did all this week, because of what the Republicans have been doing in the Senate all this week to stop us from getting our $2,000 checks. I can see exactly why it's likely, highly likely, that the Republicans will lose the election on Tuesday. Okay, but I know I said I was going to get to your comments, so let me stop talking so much and actually get to your comment. So let's see. What do we have? 600. Okay, Jason DeSarge Vanlo says 600 is half my mortgage. Okay, there you go. A $600 check cannot even pay some people's mortgages. And I can see how that is, So Jason, thank you for your comment there. Jason from Facebook. Yaga Raga McKinney says, see, Mitch, you playing with people's livelihood. Yeah, that's what Mitch McConnell is doing. He's playing games with people's lives. Okay, people who desperately need the $2,000 stimulus check and can use the $2,000 stimulus check. That's why they probably will pay dearly on Tuesday in the Georgia runoff elections. Even Lindsey Graham has said that on Fox News, I believe it was today or yesterday, that if the Republicans do not pass a $2,000 stimulus check before the Tuesday election, that they will lose the election in Georgia and the Democrats will take over the Senate, which is a good thing. It is a good thing. We don't need Mitch McConnell in the Senate anymore. Okay, we don't need him to be leader of the Senate. We don't need him to continue blocking our $2,000 stimulus checks from at least getting a vote in the Senate. We don't need him to be majority leader. At least if Chuck Schumer becomes the majority leader, who I know he is a Democrat, but at least he would allow that to get to the floor for a vote, because majority of Democrats are in favor of the $2,000 stimulus checks. So we don't need McConnell anymore. Okay, let's see who else. Denny, welcome to the chat. Thank you for commenting. Says, I want to check. Yeah. Well, you need to definitely call your U.S. senators in your state and let them know, hey, you want a $2,000 stimulus check. Priscilla Gillen says, where can we get the phone number for the senators? Well, pretty much all you can simply do, this is the easy way I know of, is go on Google and type in the search bar the name, your state. Like, for example, you can say Illinois, U.S. senators, and then it would pop up on the screen the name of those senators at the top. And once you know the names of your senators, you can write them down on a sheet of paper, and then you can do another Google search and type in the name of that senator's phone number. So, for example, if you live in South Carolina, you can look up U.S. Senators, South Carolina. You will see Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham pop up. And then you would do another search on Senator Lindsey Graham's phone number. His number will pop up at the top. And then there you go. You'll have his number. You can write it down. Give him a call. Every state should have 2 senators. You should have 2 senators in your state. So don't forget to call your U.S. senators. Keep the pressure up. I know some of you will not be able to call them every single day, but those of you who can, continue doing that. Keep the pressure up. If you can email them, fine. That's good. But we need some pressure put on these senators if we want to see a $2,000 stimulus check. Micheline, thank you for joining us. Says, call your senators. Yes, definitely call your senators for sure. Okay, now where are we at? Holly says, why can't they, when doing a stimulus package, only have a stimulus, nothing else attached to it? After all, it's an emergency. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they should think of everything. I mean, for example, why is hazard pay wasn't included in this this $600 stimulus bill? Why did they not include that? Okay, they should have. There's thousands of Americans who've been working on the front lines in the hospitals, including nurses and doctors, risking their lives to take care of patients who are suffering, from the pandemic and also getting sick because of it. And there's no hazard pay for them, which there should be. There should be hazard pay. Okay, so let's see, where are we at here? Danielle Wateska says, in the first stimulus, my $1,200 paper check was in my mailbox 1 week after the deposits were issued. Wow, that's pretty fast, Danielle. Well, that's good. It's good that you were able to get your check in the mail that fast. So pretty much what they're going to be doing this time around is, when they wrote the bill that has a $600 stimulus check in it, they pretty much said inside of the bill that there is a deadline for them to get all the checks out to the people, and that deadline is January 15th. So if you do not get your $600 stimulus check by January 15th, then you would have to wait till you get it on your tax return later on this year, which could take 2-3 months, or who knows, March, April, I don't know. But it'll be a while. It'll be quite a wait. Okay. But for right now, there are different ways that you can get the stimulus check. You can get it as a direct deposit. If you filled out your banking information on the irs.gov/EIP's website under the Get My Payments portal, last year when they first passed the CARES Act and we all got $1,200, if you gave them your banking information, including your routing number and your account number, then you should have no problem. as long as you still have that account open, you should have no problem getting a deposit on into that account. Most of the major banks, including Wells Fargo, people have received a deposit, but it is saying in their account pending until tomorrow, which is January 4th. Some of them have cleared already, and some of them have not received it. But if you don't get it by direct deposit, you can also get a check by mail. Checks has been sent out, being sent out already as of Wednesday this past week. The IRS, Department of Treasury, already started sending out the checks in the mail. Also, people will be receiving these checks with the $600 stimulus check on it on their EIP cards, which EIP stands for Economic Impact Payment, on their cards. Too, also, as long if they have filed, if their taxes were processed, their tax returns were processed by the Andover branch of the IRS, or certain other branches from the IRS. But if you want to find out more information about that, all you need to do is just Google EIP card, or Economic Impact Payment Card, because they are also sending out the $600 stimulus checks on the EIP cards. So what do you want to do, and what do you not want to do? Pretty much what you want to do is you want to check all of your mail as your mail comes in. Okay, you do not want to throw out any mail without at least opening the letter, the envelope, and looking to see what's inside of it, because it could be your EIP card with your $600 check on it. Okay, so you do not want to throw out any mail, or it could have just a stimulus check inside of it. So you do not want to throw out any mail. Now, Misty Lowry, thank you for bringing that up. Misty says the IRS portal is not up, and it has not been up for a few days now. But the IRS says that it should be up either this coming week or the week after. So you want to check on it every day if you can, and see when it comes back on. Because when it comes back on, you'll be able to find out when you will be getting your stimulus check also as well. So that's some things that you want to do. Open all your mail. What you don't want to do, you don't want to throw away any mail before at least opening it up to find out exactly what's in the letter. Okay. And also, when the Get My Payment tool opens, you want to check to see when your payment is coming. If they would allow you to enter banking information in there also. If you missed the deadline for signing up for the stimulus check, then you'd have to wait until you get a check in the mail. Okay. If you don't receive it by direct deposit, it's by mail on the EIP card. Okay. Latasha Green says, what's the number for Illinois, or the Illinois senators? Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see. Well, you could Google that. Actually, I'll Google this one. Okay. I'll Google this one. Illinois U.S. senators phone numbers. Okay. So I don't want to share the screen right now because I still have the chat up and running. Okay, so let's just say U.S. senators, Illinois. Okay, you have two senators for Illinois, Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. Okay, so those two, you can simply Google them and find out what the numbers are. Okay. So Latasha, that's the way you would find it. Okay. All right. Who's this? Kimberly replying to Veronica says, I have my card, but nothing pending. Oh, okay. Well, just be a little patient. Wait and see what happens tomorrow, and see, post phone number, please. Okay. Let's see what I can do to post some phone numbers. Dick Durbin. say Dick Durbin's phone number. Okay, so there we go. I'll put that in the chat. Senator for Illinois. His name is Dick Durbin. And this is phone number here. So I'm posting that now. So you guys can see it here in the chat. I'm put it up. It's a screen now. That's just for Illinois. One of the senators is called Dick Durbin, and the other one is called Tammy Duckworth. All right. Sorry, I can't put every state on the screen because, we have a lot of states, right? We have over 50 states. Okay. So let's see. Somebody's saying no sound on Bernie. Oh, no sound on Bernie. Okay, sorry about that, guys. If you guys didn't hear a sound. Did you guys not hear any sound at all on Bernie Sanders when I played the video? Let me know in the comments also, because I see a number of people is saying that they didn't hear any sound on Bernie. Okay. So sorry about that, guys. I apologize for the sound issue. Okay, so I'm trying to get to some more of your comments here. Holly says, I pray to God empties out Washington and only the good ones left will stand term limits too. Yeah, that's what they should have. I believe they should have some term limits for these senators. We have senators in there for over 20 years plus, like Mitch McConnell. What's the deal with that? And then Nancy Pelosi, who's been there forever, and there's no term limits. Well, I think they should have term limits. What keeps happening is these senators, like Mitch McConnell, they keep getting reelected. And Mitch McConnell just won his election in November. Now he's going to be in the Senate for another 6 years. So term limits would be a good idea, to say that, well, a senator could only serve, say, one, maybe 2 terms, okay, 2 4-year terms, and that's it. And then we'd get fresh new people in there. It might help. Okay, someone has a question for the chat. Denise Jackson says, is there anybody with card.com? If so, have you gotten yours yet? Now, I've seen this question a lot in the stimulus check update group. So, guys, if you have an answer to that, just you can feel free to answer Denise Jackson's question about card.com. She wants to know, have you gotten your $600 stimulus check yet? Unemployment. Melody says this week it starts. So if you were there when we had the last live stream, which was, I think, 4 or 5 days ago, I believe, I had said that we're only going to get 10 weeks of unemployment, which that has been corrected by the Department of Labor. They came out and made a statement just recently and said that everyone will get a full 11 weeks, even though Donald Trump took almost a week to sign the bill with the extra $300 unemployment in it and the $600 check. We still will be getting 11 full weeks, because they're going to start by the week ending December 26th. And that's a statement the Department of Labor had made just recently. You can feel free to look it up. It's about a 1-page statement. Okay, here we are. A good question from Tracy Talbert from Facebook. Says, what if you're on SSI and never filed taxes? Good question. If you never filed taxes, then they had a non-filers tool, which a lot of people used right before we got our $1,200 check, which was the first one. Okay, so you want to go on the IRS website. They have a lot of frequently asked questions there that can help you, especially if you're on SSI. There's a lot of questions and answers pertaining to that also. But if you never filed taxes, you're on SSI, then you should have gotten your first $1,200 stimulus check on the card that they give you when you're on SSI. I believe it's called Direct Express, I believe. So many people I know have gotten theirs on their Direct Express card also. So the second stimulus check, the $600, will be on there too also. Okay. So let's see what else we have here. Okay. Okay, I'm like 30 minutes behind on the chat, but bear patience with me. Can you guys hear me okay in the chat? If you can hear me clearly, just go ahead and type the number 1 inside of the comments. Again, if you can hear me clearly, just go ahead and type the number 1 inside of the comments. I would appreciate that. Okay, so it seems like my microphone is working good. So, okay, Justin said, yeah, thank you, Justin. Okay, good. So it's not my microphone. It was pretty much the video. A lot of people were saying they could not hear from Bernie Sanders. So I apologize for that. Okay, I just missed a good comment. Okay, Denny says, I hope I get the check soon as I can. He will be good. Okay, well, I hope you get your check too also. Debbie says, geez, did it pass? Well, now I believe we're back to square one, okay, with the $2,000 checks. As far as getting a bill together, because the bill that was passed by the House of Representatives is no good right now because we started a new Congress, and all the bills that were put together or introduced that were not passed on the 116th Congress, the Congress before this new Congress, is no good. Okay, so we may be back to square one, unless Mitch McConnell, which I believe is kind of unlikely, unless Mitch McConnell decides to bring his bill up to the floor for a vote. Now, that's another story, okay? Mitch McConnell had created his own bill, okay, which includes a $2,000 stimulus check. But it does not include $2,000 for dependents as well. It includes only $600 for dependents, $2,000 for adults, okay? And he added into that bill a repeal of Section 230. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Section 230 or you have questions about it, let me know. Basically, all it is Section 230 prevents the big tech companies like Facebook, YouTube from being sued because of what somebody posted on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Okay. Now, Trump wants to repeal Section 230. And a lot of that comes from because of what Twitter has written on many of Donald Trump's posts, saying that, some of his posts were not true or fact checked to be false, things like that. And Donald Trump does not like it. So he wants Section 230 repealed. So Mitch McConnell put that along next to the $2,000 check in the bill. Also, what they put in there is a review of the election by a committee. So how that would work is that if they were to pass Mitch McConnell's bill, and we would get a $2,000 stimulus check, dependents would get $600 for dependents, and also they would get rid of Section 230. And also, what would happen is that they would create a commission, and the commission would serve the purpose of reviewing the election, okay, which Donald Trump wants to do. And how they would do it is they would elect 9 Democrats to be on this commission and 9 Republicans to be on this committee, okay, which would kind of make it a more fair, um, you know, objective, um, you know, investigation of the election, okay, and they would be investigating things that Donald Trump said that were unfair in the election. Um, so that's what would happen if they pass Mitch McConnell's bill. That's what's in Mitch McConnell's bill. But what happened this week was the Democrats called Mitch McConnell out on his own bill in the Senate, including Senator Bernie Sanders and the Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. They called him out. They said, look, you have a bill that gives people $2,000 checks. Well, okay, then let's vote on it then. And what did Mitch McConnell do? He blocked the vote. Again, he did not want to vote on giving anyone $2,000 checks. Okay. He did not even want to vote on his own bill that he created. So what's the purpose of Mitch McConnell creating a bill with a $2,000 check and these other 2 things in it, the Section 230 repeal and the committee on the election, if he did not even want to bring it to the floor for a vote? He didn't even want to allow anyone to vote on it. I believe the only reason Mitch McConnell created that bill was to make Trump feel good, okay? To say, look, Trump, I made a bill. I made a bill, and I discussed it a little in the Senate. But I think Trump's more smarter than that. I think Trump's a lot smarter than that. I think Mitch McConnell probably thinks Trump is dumb, but Trump's not dumb. Trump knows that Mitch McConnell blocked the vote on the $2,000 stimulus check. He also blocked the vote on the repeal of Section 230 and the commission to review the election also as well. He blocked all of them because he did not allow a vote on his bill, nor did he allow a vote on the $2,000 stimulus check. So Trump knows. So Trump came back at him on Twitter, and Trump is very angry at Mitch McConnell right now about that because Trump wants us to have a $2,000 stimulus check. So let me get back into these comments here. So basically, to answer your question, whoever said it, did it pass? The senators, including some the Republican senators like Lindsey Graham, and also another Republican senator, Josh Hawley, they will continue to try to fight for the $2,000 stimulus checks. And also the majority of the Democrats, Chuck Schumer, Bernie Sanders, Ed Markey, all of them will continue to fight for the $2,000 stimulus checks in the Senate, especially now that we have a new Congress. So it did not pass yet, but I believe it has a chance of passing because the Republicans are seeing what's going on in Georgia. They're seeing what the people want in Georgia, and the people want the $2,000 stimulus checks. That's pretty much what they want. You know, do they care much about the Section 230? I don't believe they care that much about Section 230. Some people do, but I think people care more about whether or not they can afford to pay their bills, whether or not they can afford to feed their family, you know, whether or not they have a roof over their head or a job to go to every day. I think people care more about that than Section 230. Now, as far as the election committee, that's a whole different story. You know, many Trump voters, who you have over 74 million people that voted for Trump in the election in November, they care a lot about that, you know, the election and investigating into it to see if there was any fraud or anything like that. So a lot of people will support that part of the bill. So that leads me to say, well, why did Mitch McConnell not bring it to the floor for a vote then? You know, if a lot of Americans want the $2,000 checks, right? And maybe millions of Americans would like to see a committee established to review the election. Why did Mitch McConnell not bring it to the floor? I'll tell you why. Because he doesn't want us to have a $2,000 stimulus check. That's why, pretty much. And he doesn't care whether or not the Republicans lose in Georgia. I don't think he cares whether or not he gets to be the leader of the Senate again. After the election on Tuesday, because he can still have his Senate job as the senator of Kentucky. Sarah Elder says, we the American people are thrown to the side like a rag doll. We need that $2,000 to survive this nasty mess that China has put us in. And now we can't even afford gas to heat my home. Can't even buy food for my table. What do all of you think we can do with a $2,000 check? I believe she is saying. So that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, they in the government spending bill, they attached it to the $600 stimulus check bill, right? And they're spending over $44 billion that they're going to give to foreign countries, including another $740 billion plus that they're going to give to the military industrial complex, which only the military people who work in the military only get a 3% raise out of that. Most of that money goes to the military industrial complex. So senators can make money off of wars and wars overseas. That's what that's mainly about, but they can give almost $800 billion out to the military industrial complex and foreign countries. But Mitch McConnell doesn't want to give us let us vote on getting a $2,000 stimulus check. It's really infuriating to me. It really makes, I'm sure a lot of you are upset already as it is and has been, all this past week after you've seen what has been going on in the Senate with Mitch McConnell, Senator John Thune, and these guys who make absolutely no sense at all, saying that $2,000 stimulus check is socialism for the rich. I mean, how can you say that during the pandemic? People need this money. People that can make the difference between people starving or life and death, or people, having a roof over their head or being able to pay their rent or not. People coming out of homelessness and having a place to live. How can you sit up there on national television in the Senate and say something like that? Just makes no sense to me at all. And these people need to be, they need to be primaried, like Trump said. I agree with Trump. Senator John Thune needs to be primary. There needs to be a challenger there to take his job and get him out of there. If he doesn't want to help the people, if he's not fighting for the people, what is he there for? We elected him. I didn't vote for him, but the people that did vote for him is the reason why he has that job in the Senate. And if he's not going to do his job and fight for the people of South Dakota or in the Senate, he doesn't need to be there. If he's going to vote again, if he's going to say, no, we should not get a $2,000 stimulus check, then he's going against the people and what the people interests are. Then he doesn't deserve that job. Then we need to vote him out. So again, contact your senators, your U.S. senators, and let them know you want a $2,000 stimulus check. Okay. And I hope people like Senator John Thune, they are no longer the senator for South Dakota state in 2022, and someone else takes their place. Someone who will fight for the people, someone who will stand up and who will help people who are suffering from poverty and homelessness, and say, yes, let's give you guys a $2,000 stimulus check. Okay, back in the comments now. I know I kind of go off on tantrums here. Looks like there is a petition going around. I'm going to try to get to that and put that up on the screen if I can. Let's see if I can. Okay, here it is. There's a petition. I just noticed that coming from Dorothy. Thank you, Dorothy. Um, Says sign the petition for a standalone $2,000 stimulus bill. 27 days left to get 100,000 signatures. Petitions. The link is petitions.whitehouse.gov/petition right dash and vote dash standalone dash stimulus dash bill dash. That's a lot. 200000 dash US dash citizen. Okay, so that's the link. If you're interested to sign a petition, and a lot of these petitions on whitehouse.gov, it goes straight to the government. Okay, as long as once it gets the amount of required signatures, then someone will look it over. You can do that also, sign a petition. But what we can do for now, while we're signing the petition, guys, is call your United States Senator, because they will get this message right away. The petition they may not get until you get 100,000 signatures. But if you make the phone call, leave a voicemail at least, when they see their voice messages with all these thousands of people demanding that we get our $2,000 stimulus checks, they will start to take us more seriously. Okay. You can even tell them, hey, if you live in Georgia, you can tell them, hey, I'm not voting for you in Georgia unless you give us a $2,000 stimulus check. If you don't give us a $2,000 stimulus check, we're voting Democrat. And Democrats taking over the Senate. That's it, Mitch McConnell, you're done. Chuck Schumer can take over. We're tired of Mitch McConnell saying no to our $2,000 stimulus check. Okay, you could tell them that. Okay, tell them what you want. All right, my mom used to say, hey, a closed mouth never gets fed. And that's true. If you don't speak up for what you want, you're not going to get what you want. Okay, you're not going to get, and that's true in life. If you don't speak up for what you want, you're never going to get what you want. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to the comments and see. Loretta says, wish they would have sent me the first one. Okay, so you're talking about the first stimulus check. Well, pretty much this is what it is. Okay, if you got your first stimulus check, it's most likely you will get the second stimulus check also as well, unless your situation has changed. Like if you got it through direct deposit to your bank account, and say you closed your bank account after you got your first stimulus check, then no, you're not going to get it by direct deposit that way. You get it by mail. Okay. But in most cases, if you got the first check, you will also get the second check. Okay, so I'm noticing some, like one person or so is like using profanity, and I'm just gonna block you if you're using profanity or cursing or any name calling or anything like that, especially here in a live stream. So just to let you know that I already blocked one person. Okay, so let's see what else we're at here. Okay, here we go. Becky in my queue says, go to irs.gov, apply for your stimulus package. Yeah, all of the information about the stimulus check, especially this $600 stimulus check is coming, can be found on irs.gov. Okay, there's look through the frequently asked questions. You'll find information there for people who are on SSI, people who file taxes. If you file your taxes in 2019, you should be okay. For 2018, I believe you should still be okay. If you have not filed taxes at all, they have a form for that too that you should file. I believe it's Form 1040 that you could file also if you don't file taxes or you didn't make enough money to file taxes. So that way you can make sure you get your stimulus check. Otherwise, the Get My Payment tool is the tool on the irs.gov website that will tell you when you can expect to receive it. But that portal is not up and running right now. It has not been up and running for the past few days. So you need to check that website every day as much as you can to see when they're going to open up that Get My Payment portal, so that way you can find out when you should be receiving your stimulus check. Okay. Okay, someone is giving us some news here. It says Darlene says that she has won House Speaker. She's talking about Nancy Pelosi has won the election for House Speaker. So yeah, that's surprising for me. I don't get it either, Darlene, but I kind of do get it, Darlene. See, what had happened was they had two challengers for the two candidates for Speaker of the House, as far as I know. There's Kevin McCarthy, who's the minority Republican leader in the House of Representatives. And so Kevin McCarthy was going against Nancy Pelosi, who is the majority Speaker of the House, right? Now, if you have those two choices, when it comes to stimulus checks, right, and the pandemic, I really am not too fond of Nancy Pelosi. But I would prefer Nancy Pelosi over Kevin McCarthy any day, because Kevin McCarthy does not want us to have a stimulus check at all. No stimulus check. I mean, no stimulus check for you, period. If Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House. Okay. So that $2,000 check that they passed through their House with Nancy Pelosi, that would have never happened with Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House, because he would not allow it to come to the floor for a vote. He would not allow it to pass, period. The bill would have gotten nowhere. It wouldn't have even left the House, period. And we wouldn't even been talking about this $2,000 check in the Senate. Um, so, I mean, I would rather Nancy Pelosi. Okay. But I mean, if there was a better challenger or better candidate that was running besides Nancy Pelosi and Kevin McCarthy, and I had another choice, then it would be that other choice. But there are no other choices. There were no other choices. There were no other candidates who ran for Speaker of the House of Representatives to choose from. Maria Marlo says, let us Americans be Speaker of the House. Yeah, good. I would rather, I think instead of having these senators vote on these bills and making them law, and instead of having the House of Representatives do the same thing, I think, they should just have the people vote on all of this stuff. Have the people vote on it. I think it would turn out a lot better. Okay, because it would be no middleman there. Now we have all these middlemen and women in the Senate and House of Representatives who our interests, what we want has to go through them. And if they feel that it's something that they don't want for us, they're not going to vote for it, which is ridiculous, because they're not there just for their own interests. They're supposed to be there, to fight for us. They're supposed to fight for the people. Who's this? Dominique says, we the people need to stand up, and not sit back and watch the USA get taken over. I hear you. Donna McCord says, we need that money. You, Pelosi, and the rest of the senators, get your piece of the pie, and you make too much money that you cannot get anything done in the Senate and House. You guys mess around with the Americans' money and give our hard-working money to other countries, which is true. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's why the Democrats in the Senate, they did not, back up. Okay, they backed up Bernie Sanders. When Bernie Sanders, he came out and he said, well, I'm not allowing a vote on the defense spending bill. I'm going to filibuster it. I'm going to block it, which he did. He did over and over again. All week he's been fighting to get the $2,000 stimulus checks passed, right? He said he's going to block this defense spending bill, which they're trying to spend over $740 billion and give that money to defense contractors who are trying to make a profit off of wars overseas, instead of giving a $2,000 check to Americans, the working people and the people who are unemployed. But unfortunately, Chuck Schumer, they fought and they fought and they fought for the $2,000 stimulus checks. But they gave up. and they ended up joining Mitch McConnell and voting against Bernie. In other words, they voted to block Bernie Sanders' blocking of the defense spending bill. And they voted to allow the defense spending bill to come up to the floor for a vote. And the majority of the votes they got to veto Trump, to override Trump's veto of the defense spending bill, was coming from came from the Democrats. In other words, 41 votes on the override of the defense spending bill came from Democrats. So it's just amazing how, a lot of these Democrats, they say, oh, we'll fight with you. We'll fight for you. And they'll try to fight and fight and fight. And then when push comes to shove, they get to a point where they just quit. They give up. Someone says something to them like, do you support the troops? Oh, okay. Now we're voting for the defense spending bill. That's it. We can't back you up anymore, Bernie. Sorry, buddy. But Bernie gave it a good fight. But the Democrats could only do so much because they're not in power in the Senate. They don't have the majority in the Senate. Unless they win the runoff elections on Tuesday, they will not have the majority in the Senate. So they would need to win the election coming up Tuesday to have the majority in the Senate. So now where we're at, Thomas says it's all a cover-up. They want our guns and land because they will say we owe them. Okay, I hear you. You're talking about the $2,000 checks. That's a cover-up. Well, if that's a cover-up, that's what people need right now. Okay? There's no one coming to take anybody's guns. Nobody. As far as I know, the state I live in, we're allowed to have open carry. And many states you're allowed to have open carry too. But that's also another issue, right? But right now we're talking about a pandemic where people, over 300,000 people have died. We're talking about 12 million businesses who have shut down their doors and cannot reopen. So we're talking about something more, more pertaining to whether or not someone lives or dies right now in this moment. Okay. Someone has shared something good about a link to call your senators. I'm going to put that on the screen. Dorothy Weideman says you can use this link to contact your senators, call, email, or mail. And here's the link I'm showing here up on the screen. You should find it in the chat. Okay, so if you want to call your senator or email or mail them, just use this link to contact them. And that's what everyone should do. Make sure that you call your U.S. senators. Let them know we want a $2,000 stimulus check. President Trump wants us to have a $2,000 stimulus check. Okay, the Democrats, they want us to have a $2,000 stimulus check. Bernie Sanders wants us to have a $2,000 stimulus check. A number of Republican senators, Lindsey Graham, Josh Hawley, and some other Republican senators also want us to have a $2,000 stimulus check. Okay, the people, the majority of the people, whether Democrats or Republicans, want us to have a $2,000 stimulus check. America wants the $2,000 stimulus check. So make sure that you call your United States senators and let them know that you would like a $2,000 stimulus check. Dominique Blower says, what is the Senate number in New York? Okay, let's see if I can. New York senators. I believe you got Chuck Schumer there in New York, if I'm not mistaken. Senator Charles E. Schumer. Yep, from New York. I want to put that on the screen. I'll just make that a comment here. I'll put that on the screen also. Let's go down. And there we go. Okay, there it is. It should be on the screen for you guys to see it. Your senator in New York is Senator Charles E. Schumer. His phone number is 631-753-0978. Okay. All right. Someone says a $2,000 check would keep the lights on for sure. Okay, thank you for saying that. And Florence said it would help so much. Heather said, who couldn't benefit from a little extra? I sure could. Definitely. Okay, William Randolph Jr. says, why in the world everyone is still blaming Nancy Pelosi for this? Well, because Nancy Pelosi pretty much was blocking us getting stimulus checks in September and October before the election because she didn't want Trump to win the election. Because if they passed a stimulus check, Trump signed it, and Trump, made a letter to all Americans taking credit for the stimulus checks, that would increase his chances of winning the election. Because in polling back in March, when they passed the CARES Act, Trump's polling numbers increased over 5%. So that's pretty much why people are blaming Nancy Pelosi, because she blocked it before the election, because she didn't want Trump to win the election. That's why she did not accept any deals coming from the White House. And we could have gotten a $1,200 stimulus check before. That's why about 30%, according to the polling we just went over today in the live stream, over 30% of Americans blame Nancy Pelosi for us not getting a stimulus check. But right now, after the election, it's pretty much Mitch McConnell's fault, because he's the one blocking the $2,000 stimulus checks right now. See, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, they passed the $2,000 stimulus checks through the House of Representatives with the majority vote. They sent the bill over to the Senate, and Mitch McConnell blocked it 4 times this week and would not allow the senators to vote on the $2,000 stimulus checks. Yeah, somebody making a good point is what I said before. James Kilgore is repeating something that I said earlier in this chat, that just like I said, I mean, they cannot vote on a $2,000 bill right now. Why? Because a $2,000 bill is no good anymore, because we started a new Congress today called the 117th Congress. So what the House of Representatives and Nancy Pelosi would have to do, they would have to create a brand new bill with $2,000 stimulus checks in it. Okay. And what they could also do is put in there, a better formula, considering that the check amount would be higher than the first $1,200 check we got, after March, and the $600 check we got just recently and are still getting in the mail. So the formula would have to address the $2,000 check payment. In other words, people who make over $75,000, or they could say over $75,000, should get zero, or over $90,000 get zero, whatever the case is. Or if you make over $90,000, you don't get any money for independence, whatever whatever formula they want to put, right? But one point that the Republicans in the Senate were making, including Senator John Thune, is that you cannot use the same formula for the $600 checks and the $1,200 checks for the $2,000 checks, which in my mind, he wants to hold up everyone getting $2,000 checks, including the people who need it the most, which is the majority of people, for maybe a population of less than 1% of people, of Americans, who make more than $75,000 a year or $90,000 a year, which makes absolutely no sense. To hold up that kind of relief aid, which would help so many people, would help the economy. And if his rebuttal or his case had any substance at all to it, then why did Senator Thune and Majority Leader Mitch McConnell not come up with some type of amendment to that? Why did they not come up with an amendment to that or a new formula? If he was so concerned with that, and they called it socialism for the rich, why did they not come up with? I'll tell you why. Because they don't want you to have a $2,000 check. Period. Okay. They don't want to help the American people at all. Linda Ann says it would help. They're fixing to turn our power off any day, and my husband is on in-home dialysis. So sorry to hear that. Well, thoughts and prayers go out to you, and I hope you make it through, with getting your power, keeping your power on, and, that's why, that should be a no-brainer, to these Republicans in Senate and Mitch McConnell. Americans need help. We've been into this pandemic for over 9 months now. Past the $2,000 stimulus check. What is the problem? Okay, if you don't agree with it, like Bernie Sanders said, that's fine. That's called democracy. All right. That's why you have Democrats and you have Republicans. You have the People's Party. You have Libertarians. You have Green Party. You have all these different political parties. That's why we have a group on Facebook called Political Debates. So that way we allow people from different political views to express their opinions. It's called democracy. If you agree with giving us $2,000 checks, then let us vote. And the senators that agree with that, let them vote on the $2,000 checks. But if you disagree with it, you're a Republican, and you do not want anyone to get any stimulus check at all, any $2,000 check, then okay, vote no to it then. But at least let us have a vote, a free and fair vote. Put it to the floor of the Senate. That's what Mitch McConnell did not want to do. We have another comment from YouTube, one of our viewers on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Jennifer says, these people are guilty of criminal gross negligence for inaction. They are held to a higher standard, just like law enforcement. They take an oath to protect the people, support people. Hashtag ditch Mitch. I like that. I like that hashtag. So people, if you like that hashtag also, you can feel free to use it. Rebecca had a question. How do I apply for stimulus? Well, go on to irs.gov website. If you got the first stimulus check already by direct deposit, then there's nothing that you need to do. As long as you're the same bank that you were using before when you got your first stimulus check is still open, and that account is still open, there's nothing you need to do but wait and be patient until you get your direct deposit. If not, if you want one of those who are going to be getting your stimulus check by mail, then all you can do is just wait till it comes in the mail. Okay. But just keep in mind that Get My Payment portal will be open probably coming up this coming week. Okay. So check this irs.gov website every day if you can to see when it's going to be available. Latest app poll, Republican 54 to 45% in Georgia as of today. Okay, thank you. Which poll is that? Is that Rasmussen or Trafalgar? I think they call it. Let me know. All right, James. Well, thanks for the info. But I seriously doubted if Republicans are going to pull this one off after what they did in the Senate to block us and stop us from getting a $2,000 stimulus check. I really doubt if they're going to be winning Georgia. But, we'll have yet to see. Tuesday will be here in just a couple of days. Okay. Justin Herrera says, sure hope something comes soon. Sure hope something comes soon. Got to keep my electric and gas on for a couple of months to get through winter with 4 kids and a wife I'm trying to take care of. Yeah, I hope something does come through soon. They're adjusting. The Democrats were saying that as soon as the new Congress starts, they're going to try to push for this $2,000 stimulus checks again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't have any. Let's see any other updates. Let's see here. Let me just double check and see if we have any fresh updates that just came out. Okay, I'm double checking here just to make sure there hasn't been any changes since we started this live stream. Yeah, I just seen an article here. Channel 10 News says second round of stimulus checks trigger new scams. So I just want to address that real quick. That there are scams out there, people. So you want to be wary of that. Okay. Um, the IRS is not going to call you over the phone, okay, about a stimulus check. Okay, not about the $600 check, not about the $2,000 check, not about the first $1,200 check. None of that. They're not going to call you over the phone. Period. Okay. So, and they're not going to email you either. So if you get any email or any phone call or messages, voicemail, whatever, of someone claiming to be the IRS, do not fall into that trap. Okay, it's a scam. Okay, just had to make that announcement really quick. Jennifer from YouTube says they have created a living environment in which lower class are guaranteed food, housing, food, and medical insecurity. Okay, through their inaction and lack of support only they can give, subjecting us to COVID. Yes, I definitely agree with that statement. Um, and in the meantime, they're giving out billions of dollars to the multi-rich, the billionaires, uh, multi-billion-dollar corporations, and foreign countries, and to fight wars overseas. But what do the American people get? They get slapped in the face with a tiny $600 check. That's it. You know, and I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. I think American people deserve more than that. Okay, so someone is saying, Jamie is saying, you don't, it's automatic. If you file taxes, you'll get it. If you're a non-filer, to the IRS website. Yep. And they have a non-filers form also on the website, IRS website. And also, if it's not a .gov website, it's not the IRS, because the IRS website is .irs.gov. Ben Hillary says $600 is a joke. It is a joke. It's ridiculous. All we get is $600. Now I can see why President Trump, he refused to sign this bill for like 6 days and delayed it, hoping that Congress would pass a $2,000 stimulus check. And they pretty much tried to trick Trump. I think they did trick Trump. They tricked him. They made it seem like they were going to fight hard to pass this $2,000 stimulus check. They made it seem like it was going to happen like right away, and it didn't. I mean, yes, it passed the House. It got to the Senate, and Mitch McConnell, he said he's not going to have any vote on it whatsoever. So you could thank Mitch McConnell for that. Let's see. Jennifer says they have held stimulus checks hostage for their own bargaining chip in every bill and never gave relief for 9 months. Yep, that's true. 9 months people have been waiting. The last stimulus check before the $600 that they passed was back in March. They passed Congress passed the CARES Act. That was the last one. And that, yes, the House of Representatives, they tried to pass many stimulus check bills, which it got passed through the House, it got to the Senate, and Mitch McConnell refused to vote on it. All of them. He refused to vote on any of them. The only ones he actually wanted to vote on it was the defense spending bill that gives over $700 billion to fight wars overseas, and the government spending bill, which gives over $44 billion more money to other countries and not the American people. Doesn't get a dime out of that. Right? But he would not allow the senators to have a vote on the $2,000 stimulus checks. So yeah, they did hold the stimulus checks for hostage. They used the government spending bill to keep the government open, and they kind of used the $600 stimulus check bill. They used that stimulus package to add the government spending bill to it, because they knew the stimulus package would pass Congress. So they wanted the government spending bill to pass Congress also. So they put them all together, in a over 5,000 page bill. And, that was just trickery. And like Jennifer was saying, holding stimulus checks hostage. I mean, because they could have just passed the stimulus bill by itself, right? They could have passed it by itself. Or they could have tried to pass the government spending bill by itself. They didn't have to put them both together and make one vote on both of them together, right? Because the government spending bill kind of spoils the stimulus bill, because the stimulus bill is talking about giving people an extra $300 a week in unemployment. That's extra unemployment money for 11 weeks. It's talking about over $25 billion for Americans to get rental assistance that they desperately need. It's talking about extending the eviction moratorium or eviction ban for another month till January 31st. It's talking about giving additional money and food stamps so poor families can have food on the table. It's talking about a $600 stimulus check, which is hardly nothing at all. But it's talking about all of these things, okay? And to put a government spending bill that spends over $44 billion to other countries, it's not a good thing. Okay? It kind of spoils the stimulus bill. But that's what they did. Now that Trump has signed the bill, now Trump has lost a lot of leverage that he had when he was saying that he refused to sign for the $600 checks because he wants us to have 2,000, and he refused to keep the government open by signing the government spending bill. Trump lost that leverage too when he signed the bill. But he was told that yes, Congress would push to pass the $2,000 checks. Don't worry, you would be able to get what you wanted. And now it's like Mitch McConnell's holding the whole thing up. So right now, Trump does not like Mitch McConnell at all. Misty Lowry says, I've not got my check. I need it. Yep. Well, if you didn't get it, if you got the first stimulus check, as long as your banking information, your address, and all those things have not changed, you should get the second stimulus check also. If you didn't get the first one because you did not qualify for it, and your situation is the same, then there's a chance that you may not qualify for the $600 stimulus check either. Okay. Who's this? Justin says, believe it took till August to even get the last one. Wow. I feel for you there, Justin. Sorry you had to go through that. And Missy says, that's insane because I waited 5 months for the first stimulus check. So I guess in July, I'll get it. Wow. Yeah, it helps a lot when you have the banking information filled out with the IRS, and they have your banking information. It definitely helps out a lot more. Okay, interesting comment here from Joseph James, a YouTube viewer from YouTube, says fact checked. Undocumented alien families get $1,800, while U.S. citizens get $600. Plus, there are a lot of pork spending, including sending funds to other countries. Go figure. Okay, when he says alien families, people, he's not saying all of them are undocumented aliens. He's saying that there may be one person in that family who's undocumented, right? And other people have social security numbers, because this bill does not give any money at all to people to a family who has all of its members are undocumented. As a matter of fact, you have to have a social security number to get this money. They're not giving $600 to someone who just has a I-10 number or whatever you call that. You have to have a social security number to get it, right? So you got to be documented. You got to be legal to get the $600. And if someone who is not legal, they don't get the 600. So here's an example here. Okay, this is what Joseph is talking about, right? An undocumented family. What he's in his his view, I believe, would be like, okay, you have a couple, right? A married couple. The father is documented, right, or is a citizen, right? Is a legal American citizen, okay? And you have the wife or spouse who is undocumented, right? Now, the wife will not get anything at all. Will get zero. Will not get a stimulus check, because this bill does not give any money to someone who's undocumented. But if the father is a legal American citizen, the father and has a social security number, the father will get a $600 stimulus check. Okay, that's how the money's being given out in this bill. Okay, so when they say undocumented families, they're saying if one person in that family is undocumented, then the whole family is undocumented, according to them, right? That's why a lot of Republicans have a biggest problem. That's why they could not pass the $2,000 check, because they're saying maybe if one or two people, right, make over a certain income limit, that nobody should get a $2,000 stimulus check. So you can't take one or two people and blame the majority of Americans for one or two people. It just doesn't make any sense, you know? But there's some Republicans in the Senate for you. They want to hold up the $2,000 checks to people who really desperately need it, because of a fantasy that Senator Thune and Mitch McConnell has, that says that rich people get a $2,000 check, which just totally blows my mind. I mean, if you have, the limits, the income earning limits of, 75,000 or a certain amount tacked on there in the bill, then what are you talking about? The rich people are getting the $2,000 check. Mitch McConnell, see what it is Mitch McConnell does not want you to have a stimulus check at all. He don't want you to have a $2,000 stimulus check, period. Okay. So he had to come up with some excuse, something. And that's the ridiculous excuse that they came up with. Misty says, my account is open and got the last one quick. Still have not recurved the 600. Okay, yes, just be patient and Misty. Different banks seem like are getting the money at different times. Like Wells Fargo, a lot of people who bank with Wells Fargo have already gotten their $600 check. Some people in their account, it says there that it is pending till tomorrow, which is January 4th. And some of the major banks, people have already got their checks already. So you just want to check with your bank and see if you have anything pending in there. Um, and the IRS portal, like Mister's saying here, is not up. So there's nothing you can really do but pretty much either give the IRS a call, which is going to be a good wait. You're going to be waiting, who knows, how long on the phone, because you have probably thousands or millions of people trying to contact the IRS, and the line may be busy. It may be a long wait to get a hold of a representative. But that's your other alternative right now. Call the IRS, see if you can get on the phone and speak with someone, or wait a few days until the Get My Payment portal opens back up. That way you can figure out, figure out where you stand right now as far as when you're going to get your stimulus check. Wanda says, have not gotten ours yet. Have you guys seen, if you're a fan, one of our fans on our stimulus check update page, have you guys seen the post? I believe it was yesterday that we posted where someone asked the question, have you got your stimulus check yet? And over, I think almost 400 people had answered yes or no. Well, if you've seen that post, just type the number 1 inside of the comments. Again, if you've seen that post, just type the number 1 inside of the comments. But we have tried to figure it out, myself and my fiance, Janelle, try to figure out whether or not they were using some type of system to see who gets the stimulus checks first. So we said, okay, well, maybe they're going by last names in alphabetical order, right? So we looked through the comments there to see if there was going by alphabetical order. But you had people have already received their stimulus check, right, into their bank accounts, and some people have received a paper check already, according to what they've said in the post and the stimulus check update page. And their last names start with M, the letter M, the letter H, the letter G, the letter B, the letter L. And about 5 people's last names start with the letter W. So that's not alphabetical order right there, if you ask me. They're not going by alphabetical order. I think what they are trying to do is get as many of the checks out as they can, as many as possible. And I think they're starting with the people whose information that they have already in the system, which pretty much makes sense. I mean, if they don't have your information and they don't know about you, how are you going to get a stimulus check right now? If they don't know your address, when to send a check to, or they don't have your banking account information, I mean, it'd be very difficult for them to send the money, right? Okay, Diane Walker said, yes, she saw the post. Okay, good. All right. Senator Manchin, someone is talking about Senator Manchin. James Kilgore says, I remember Senator Manchin in West Virginia said he may switch to the Republican Party if Democrats win Georgia. Okay, wow, that's interesting. William Randolph Jr. says, not gotten my $600 check yet. Okay. William, well, you want to make sure if you had your banking account information already filled out on the IRS website way back when we got our first stimulus checks, then I wouldn't worry about it, because that means the IRS already has your banking information. It's just a matter of time before your $600 hits your account. Okay. When does the $300 unemployment start? Good question. Mary Shoemaker says, Well, according to the bill that passed Congress and signed by the President Trump, right, from where we're getting our $600 stimulus checks from where we're getting our $300 a weekly and extra unemployment money comes from, according to the Department of Labor, which they posted a new press release just recently, I believe yesterday, saying that it starts the week ending December 26th. Okay, so it's just a matter of it could be a week or two, maybe until you start receiving your unemployment benefits payments. Okay, but when you start receiving them, you're supposed to receive a full 11 weeks, starting the um the week ending December the 26th. Okay, so Trina says, "Are we getting the 2,000?" I believe it's a possibility we are. I believe we have a lot of great news as more and more Republicans coming out in support of the $2,000 stimulus check than before. So I believe okay. If I had to make a bet right now, I would bet that we get it. I would bet that we get the $2,000 stimulus check. That's what I would bet my money on. Eddie says American people need that money. Yes, for sure. It definitely. Somebody have a question about Rome, Georgia. Okay, Rome, Georgia. What about Rome, Georgia? Okay, what about Rome, Georgia? What is exactly the question you have? You have a question about you want to know who your senator is in Rome, Georgia, or okay, just let me know. Again, people, if you want to get more of this stimulus check update information, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay. You should see a link somewhere in the Facebook group. If you're on Facebook or the Facebook page, you should see a link there to our YouTube channel and one of our videos. Okay. And click on the video, go to our channel and hit the red subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification. So that way, when we make new videos, you will be one of the first people to see the videos. And when we go live and do our live shows like this one, you will be one of the first people to attend our live streams. All right. So I'm not sure what you're talking about that. If you want to know who your senator is, or you're talking about the runoff election on Tuesday in Georgia. But if you could be more specific, let me know. Okay. Tammy has the same question. Is there going to be a $2,000 stimulus check? I believe so, especially if the Democrats win the election in Georgia on Tuesday. I think there's going to be more than just a $2,000 check. I believe there's going to be a $2,000 check. You know, maybe when Biden comes in, there's going to be more stimulus checks coming our way also. So I believe we're going to get the $2,000 check and then some. Okay. Because this pandemic is not going away. Even though they may have a vaccine out, or 3 vaccines or 4 vaccines, they're very slow with getting the vaccine out to the people. Okay. And there's even another version of this sickness, if you will, going around. A new version that's in 3 states now. All right. And that is going to spread just as fast as this pandemic that we're going through now. And this pandemic is not going to be over anytime soon. According to Dr. Fauci, the leading disease expert on these type of viruses, he says it's not over. And we have not seen the worst of it. The WHO also says that we have not seen the worst of it. So, right now we have almost 3,000 Americans dying every single day from the pandemic. And I remember back in March, we had nowhere near 3,000 people a day dying. We had about close to somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 deaths per day. And as far as we had nowhere near 20 million cases either. Now we have over 20 million cases. So this thing is not going away anytime soon, especially when you think about it, right? You have over 74 million people who voted for Trump in the November election. And you look at all of these rallies that Trump had and all over the states, right? How many thousands of people don't want to wear a mask, right? And they want to crowd up together with no social distancing or anything like that. They refuse to wear masks. This pandemic is not going to be over. You have many people who don't want to wear masks, maybe millions of people who don't want to wear a mask, right? And then you have people who do not want to take the vaccine either. And you have people who do not want to do social distancing. So this is not going anywhere. This pandemic is going to keep it's gonna drag on maybe for another my guess is going to drag on for another 2 years or more, possibly. It's not going anywhere. Okay. Question from Shirley says, is it also for people that draw disability too? Yes. If you're on disability or SSI, if you get the if you got your first stimulus check on your Direct Express card, then you should get the second stimulus check on the same card, the Direct Express card. Someone has a question about the Emerald card. Megan says, so if it went on an Emerald card, last stimulus payment will be on that again? Yep. It should be on the same way you got it the first time is the same way you're going to get your stimulus check the second time, unless things changed, right? And for the Emerald card, if you have any further questions about your Emerald card, I believe the Emerald card goes through H&R Block. So you would have to contact H&R Block with all the questions that you might have about your stimulus check and when you're going to receive it, and any questions you have about that. Make sure that you contact H&R Block. Okay, James says that 52% of voters in Georgia do not believe in a stimulus check. Yeah, well, what poll are you referencing? Because there's more than one polls, right? Let me see if I can pull up a poll here. Right? Because I don't believe that, right? The pandemic has torn through Atlanta, right? To the point where Atlanta had to shut down, right? Now this was a Republican state, right? Until the last election in November. Now it's turning blue. Okay. Where are we at? Okay. Okay, let me just put this here on the screen. I'll put that on the screen for you, James, so you can see that, right? Okay, there's an article. I'll just put that on there. I might have to take the chat out, but you should be able to see that. I could even make it bigger too. All right. This is one news outlet, acj.com. Georgia Senate Republicans back $2,000 stimulus checks under pressure from Trump and Democrats. Okay. So you have millions of voters in Georgia who have voted for President Trump in the last election in November. And if Trump says he wants a $2,000 stimulus check, you can best believe a lot of those voters, especially the Trump voters in Georgia, they want the $2,000 stimulus checks too. They're going to back Trump up on what Trump wants. Okay. And you can see that in the two Republican senators who are the incumbents, Senator Perdue and Senator Loeffler. right? Kelly Loeffler. They came out and said they're in support of the $2,000 stimulus checks, and they are rallying. Donald Trump is coming down to Georgia to make a rally. I believe it's tonight or tomorrow night. He's going to have rallies in Georgia. Okay, so Georgia wants a $1,000 stimulus check, and Georgia Democrats want a $2,000 stimulus check also. Okay, so I don't believe that that poll that you're referencing there, where you say 52% of voters, I don't think that's accurate. All right, and if you can show me the source of where that's coming from, what poll you're quoting there, because there's lots of polls, right? And if all the polls were right, then we wouldn't have had what happened in last election happen. Because according to the polls, all the polls were saying that, oh, the Democrats were supposed to have this huge blue wave, right? And you're going to have a huge majority in the Senate and a huge majority in the House, right? And if all those polls were right, then okay, then why did the Democrats lose almost 15 seats in the House of Representatives? Right? Why did that happen? Yeah, why did the Democrats lose almost 15 seats in the House of Representatives? And why is it that the Democrats, they barely have a split in the Senate, even if one of the Democrats win the election on Tuesday? Why is it still so close in the Senate and not a huge majority like the polls were predicting? Most of the polls were predicting the Democrats was going to sweep with this humongous blue wave, but that's not what happened, right? They even said that Biden was going to sweep with this humongous amount of votes, which it did not happen the way the polls said it was going to happen, right? As you see here, this article says Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue on Tuesday endorsed President Donald Trump's push to increase the size of stimulus checks from $600 to $2,000 amid increasing pressure from Democrats and the president's most loyal supporters in the final weeks of high-stakes runoffs for the control of the Senate. Okay, so the article goes on to, talk more about how these senators now all of a sudden they want to support the $2,000 stimulus checks, but when before they didn't even want you to have a stimulus check at all. Like, for example, Perdue, Senator Perdue, he didn't want you to have a stimulus check, and he ranted on and on and on about that for almost a year, until Donald Trump said something about it on December 22nd on Twitter. Now all of a sudden he's in favor of it. And now all of a sudden Kelly Loeffler is in favor of it. Because you know why? Because Donald Trump is the one that's going down there to Georgia, doing the rallies for them, supporting them, helping them get elected. That's why. That's why they're in support of the $2,000 stimulus check, because Donald Trump is in support and wants a $2,000 stimulus check. But if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for Trump supporting it, they would not be in favor of it at all. So I don't see how the majority of Georgians don't. I'm not saying there's not a poll out there that does not say that, but I just want to see the poll. I want to know where's the poll coming from? Is it which pollster? Because I find it kind of interesting when the majority of Democrats voters want a $2,000 stimulus check. I'm talking about nationally, not only in Georgia. And over 70% of Republican voters want a $2,000 stimulus check. And they also feel that the $600 check is not enough, right? Now, this has been polled for quite some time now, right? Of this $2,000 stimulus check. So it's been in polls even way back since Bernie Sanders and Ed Markey and Senator Uh, Kamala Harris came out with the bill in the Senate which was a proposal to give every American $2,000 a month in income, right? Ever since then, polls have been made about that, right? So they gotten a lot of information from so many different sources. You had petitions, many petitions that went up to the White House that got over 1 million signatures saying give Americans a $2,000 check, right? So they had plenty and enough information to do the polling on enough Americans to know that the majority of Georgia wants a $2,000 stimulus check. Well, that's a good question. Tasha Jones said, what if you owe child support? Will my husband get one? Yes. If you owe child support, you will get it because they do not take out, they don't hold that against you. If you owe child support, they will not stop you from getting your stimulus check. In other words, the first stimulus check, the $1,200, that was passed through a different bill called the CARES Act, right? Back in March. So that has different, regulations and, parts of its legislation that apply to, things like that. It addresses child support differently than the new bill, which has a $600 stimulus check in it. Now, in the new bill, they're not allowed to take out money for child support. So if you owe, say, $300 in child support, they can't just take out $300 out of your stimulus check and give you a $300 check. No, they can't do that. They have to give you the full $600. No matter how, you could owe $100,000 in child support, they're still going to give you your $600 check. And I know some people agree with that. Some people don't agree with that. But I'm just telling you the way the bill is written. That's the way the bill that passed and was signed by the President Trump is written right now. So we got a check first time, says Nicole, then file our 2019 taxes with direct deposit. So will the second one come direct deposit on my 2019 taxes filed information given, or will they mail it again? If they mailed it the first time, it's highly likely they will mail it the second time too. Okay. Biden been there for 40. Yeah, that's true. True statement. Biden's been there for over 40 plus years as a senator, right? But I kind of look at that. I mean, a lot of people have the differences, right? Especially in politics, right? But the way I kind of see that is maybe Biden could use that to his advantage, right? Biden is saying that, okay, Biden, he put up a whole website, right? Before the election. He says, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm not going to do. Including in that is we get stimulus checks, okay? There's going to be a new stimulus package or more than multiple stimulus packages coming. So he has a whole full plan outlined, well detailed on his website, right? Of what he plans on doing if he's elected to president, right? The way I look at it is Biden has experience, especially with what's going on right now with Mitch McConnell blocking the $2,000 checks. Senator John Thune, who was the number 2 senator in the Senate, blocking the $2,000 stimulus checks, and Trump angry at McConnell and Senator Thune for blocking it. But what can Trump do, right? What can Trump do about it? Can he negotiate something with Mitch McConnell? I mean, who knows, right? But with Biden, on the other hand, Joe Biden has over 40 years of experience in the Senate, negotiating deals, making deals with Republican senators in the Senate. He has years and years of experience where he has negotiated deals before in the past with Mitch McConnell. I believe that Biden may have a better chance of getting the $2,000 stimulus checks passed by negotiating with Mitch McConnell, because Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell actually have a history. They used to be good, really close friends. Okay. So Biden knows how to make deals with McConnell, and Donald Trump don't know how to make deals with McConnell, obviously, because now Trump doesn't know what to do. McConnell just blocked these $2,000 checks, and Trump doesn't know what to do. But Biden, on the other hand, he probably knows what to do, because he has over 40 years experience dealing with Mitch McConnell, dealing with these senators in the Senate, and he knows what to do and how to do it and how to get things done, right? So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I could be wrong. It's possible that Biden doesn't get anything done, right? But I mean, we've yet to see what happens. Okay, we got another comment there. Joseph James says Biden and McConnell will get things done. Well, we hope so, right? We hope so. I mean, somebody could be friends. Yeah, maybe they were close friends in the past, but doesn't mean they're friends when it comes to politics. You know what I mean? Politics is a whole different story. You know, now money is involved, right? Now politics is involved, right? Power is involved. It's a whole different ballgame, right? I mean, yeah, they may have been friends on a personal level, but when it comes to politics, they're not friends. I don't think they're friends when it comes to politics. Never got mine yet, says Luann. Okay, well, just hang on in there. I would just either call the IRS or either call the IRS or wait till the Get My Payment portal opens up on the IRS website. John James, welcome to the chat. Thank you for watching. Says, will McConnell be Speaker for the Senate after Tuesday? Well, John, that would depend. That depends on what happens in Georgia. If the Democrats win both elections, meaning if Raphael Warnock wins and Ossoff wins, if those two Democrat senators win in Georgia, then it's bye-bye Mitch McConnell, right? Mitch McConnell will no longer be the majority leader of the Senate. So Mitch McConnell does not call all the shots in the Senate anymore if the Republicans lose in Georgia. But if they win in Georgia on Tuesday, then what happens is Mitch McConnell continues to be the leader of the Senate, may continue blocking the $2,000 stimulus checks, and maybe a long time before we get anything at all as far as stimulus money or any kind of stimulus period at all, right? Also, if one senator wins, if a Democrat senator wins and a Republican senator wins, and it's a split in Georgia, then McConnell continues to be the leader of the Senate in Georgia. And then we have to deal with Mitch McConnell again for another 2 years until we have another election in the Senate, when we have senators up for re-election again. So to answer your question, it depends on whether the Republicans win in Georgia or the Democrats win in Georgia, or if it's a split, like say the Democrats win one seat in Georgia and the Republicans win the other seat in Georgia, right? So if it's a split, you have 1-1, then McConnell remains the leader of the Senate. If Democrats take both seats in the Senate on Tuesday, then bye-bye Mitch McConnell. He continues to be The senator for the state of Kentucky, yes, but he's no longer the majority leader. Then who becomes the majority leader? Okay, then Chuck Schumer, which is a Democrat, he becomes majority leader in that case. And then, of course, he will put the $2,000 check up on the floor for a vote. And it's a no-brainer. It will get passed. There's enough Republicans to vote in favor of it. Donald Trump wants it. The Democrats definitely want it. Bernie Sanders and the independents, they want it. So it will pass the Senate. It will pass the House also, because the majority of Democrats in the House want it. 44 Republicans in the House of Representatives voted for the $2,000 stimulus check. Just keep that in mind. 44 Republicans, representatives in the House of Representatives voted for the $2,000 stimulus check. So it will pass, no problem. It will get signed by President Trump, or who knows, President Biden after the 20th, right? But either way, it will pass. Misty says, are they sending it out based on income first, or is there any other guidelines? Not that I've read anywhere. So we don't know if there's any specific guidelines that they're going by. I believe they're just trying to get it all out, get all the checks out as fast as they can, because they set a deadline. This stimulus check is different than the first $1,200 check, where they had guidelines and they had a schedule, and they went by your income to determine who would get the check in the mail first, right? This is different. This is totally different. They don't have any guidelines yet. Who knows? Maybe they will come up with guidelines on their website, but like the Get My Payment portal on the IRS website, it's not open yet. So the IRS is still working on that. If they are going to come up with guidelines, the guidelines will be posted on the IRS website for sure, including if there's going to be any income-based guidelines too. But I believe that they might have to change that and start putting guidelines. If they're going to put guidelines up, like income guidelines, or go alphabetical order according to last names, or whatever the case is, then they're going to have to push the deadline back, because right now the deadline is January 15th. So that only gives 12 days for people to receive this $600 stimulus check. So if you do not get your stimulus check by January 15th, then you're going to have to wait until you file your taxes later on this year to receive it, or next year. Okay, so where are we at? Remind people. James says, remind people that they must pay federal income tax on their extra unemployment. Yeah. Many people have told me, people that receive their unemployment, that they are taking taxes out of your unemployment. Okay, so it's not tax-free. The unemployment money is not tax-free. So therefore, it is income coming in. Even though your stimulus check is not considered an income, right? That's why it's a credit, right? A rebate, or whatever you want to call it, but it's not an income. So it does not prevent you. If it was an income, then it would matter as far as people applying for Social Security or SSI or unemployment. Then they could say, well, you're getting a $600 check, you don't qualify, or your income went up, or you don't qualify for this, or any other program. But that's not the case, right? But this is treated differently. The unemployment, there's federal taxes taken out. So you want to take that into consideration. So if you're getting money you've been getting money in unemployment from your state, then whatever that is, that's going to be, the extra unemployment, the $300 extra unemployment will be added to it. Some reports and sources have said that some states are adding an extra $100 in unemployment boost money onto that, but check with your state and see exactly what your state plans on doing with your unemployment. If they're going to give you an extra $100, or if it's just going to be the $300 that was signed off by President Trump, right? But there is going to be taxes taken out. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. Taxes taken out of the unemployment check money. There is a lot of people in our Facebook page, a lot of fans on there who have been saying that they have not received their money for their dependents, right? They're saying that, yes, they got their $600 stimulus check for themselves, for them and their spouse, but they have not got any for their dependents. Then there are other people also in the same Facebook page and Facebook group also who are saying that yes, they received a partial payment or a smaller payment than they had expected to receive. So if that's the case and you got less money than you thought you should have gotten, you need to definitely call the IRS and get that straightened out with them. And that way you can find out and try to figure out what's going on, why you got less of a dependent payment than you should have. And if you did not get your money for your dependents at all, then you also should call the IRS also, just to find out. It's good to call and find out, what's going on with that, why you're missing money, and that could definitely help you get a better understanding. And if they owe you some more money, maybe they can send you a little more of what you should have gotten. Yes, James. Definitely, the unemployment money is taxable. Just reminding you guys, unemployment is taxable. Okie doke. Let's see. Is the stimulus check based on income? Yes, it's based on income. They have stipulations. The same formula that they used for the $1,200 check that they passed through Congress in March is the same formula that they're going to use now. Okay. So I believe the threshold is $75,000 a year in income. And if you earn more than $75,000 a year in income, then it would phase out by a certain amount of money, every $100 or so. So for every $100, they're going to take a certain amount of money out of the check. If you make more than $75,000, until you just get to a certain level of income that you've earned for the year, where it just completely phases out. And once you make that amount of income per year, then you receive no stimulus check at all. Your stimulus check is zero. So yes, it is based on income, just like the first stimulus check was also based on income. Jackie is saying that Pelosi won. Yeah, I would have told you that Pelosi was going to win, because for one, the Democrats have the majority in the Senate. For two, if Kevin McCarthy is the only other person that was running for Speaker of the Senate, I don't want Kevin McCarthy nowhere near being Speaker of the Senate, because I want another stimulus check. And I know that man is not going to get anybody no stimulus check. So I don't want Kevin McCarthy to be Speaker of the House, period. Okay? Especially right now during the pandemic, people need a stimulus check. Okay? People don't need excuses to why they cannot give people a stimulus check. What they need right now is a stimulus check. Okay? Okay, what if you owe child support? I think I answered that before. If you owe child support, you still get a stimulus check. Okay, again, I'm going to repeat that. If you owe child support money, you will still get your $600 stimulus check. Why? Because that's the way the bill is written. All right, that's the legislation that Trump signed. It's different from the first legislation, the CARES Act that passed back in March when we got our first stimulus check. Is different. Now, if you owe child support money, you still get your stimulus check. Okay. Where are we at? They know what they are doing. Times are hard. So, yeah, that's true. Roy made a good point. They know what they're doing. Times are hard. He's talking about the senators. Yeah, senators, they know what they're doing. Times are hard. See, these senators are making millions of dollars a year, especially Mitch McConnell. He's worth over $10 million, right? Over. Maybe he's probably in a hundred. He's probably 100 millionaire, I believe. Um, and all this money he makes off of taxpayers, right? He's quick to jump up and say, "Well, let's pass a bill for giving paycheck protection money out to businesses." You know why he's so quick to want to pass something like that? Because his wife got tens of thousands of dollars in stimulus money from some of the stimulus packages that was passed before through Congress through the Paycheck Protection Program. Also, the money for that was supposed to go to small businesses is now going to 100 millionaire, right? But he doesn't want to give us a $2,000 stimulus check. So, I mean, Mitch has got to go. I'm sorry. We got to get Mitch out of there, you know? Even if, okay, even if they came up with somebody else from his party, another Republican, would have been so much better than Mitch McConnell having him in there, you know? Maybe Josh Hawley or somebody, even Lindsey Graham, anybody, but not Mitch McConnell. I need to get rid of Mitch, okay? Okay. James is saying that Mitch McConnell's bill is a better bill. Well, you know what? I don't see nothing wrong with Mitch's bill. You know, I don't see why Mitch McConnell does not want them to vote on his bill, right? I don't understand why he didn't even want them to vote on his bill either. It doesn't make any sense to me because his bill, I don't see nothing wrong with his bill. It gives us a $2,000 check, right? Maybe we get a little less money for dependents. Instead of getting $2,000 for our dependents, we only get $600 for each dependent. But still, I mean, you get the $2,000 check, right? So for a family of four, that'd be $2,000 for you, $2,000 for your spouse, and $4,000 for two kids, right? So that's still 8,000. No, that's wrong. Sorry. It's $1,200 for two kids, right? Because it's $600 per dependent, plus $4,000. So you're still getting $5,600. So that's still not bad for a family of four, right? And then the other two items are repeal Section 230, which I think the Democrats should just concede to that and the Election Commission. Why? Because throughout history, in 2005, for example, Democrats have opposed the Electoral College. Okay, this is nothing new. What you're seeing on the news and in the papers, on the internet and Facebook and YouTube and everywhere, in the media about the Republicans, senators, and 140 Republicans through the House of Representatives are going to object to the Electoral College. This is nothing new. It's nothing new at all. This has happened in 2005. It's happened in, I believe, 1969. It's happened before that. Okay, Democrats have done the same thing. They challenged the Electoral College results. Okay, so there's nothing new. So I mean, Democrats believe what they believe, and that is that the election was fair that's what Democrats believe. I'm not taking no sides here in this. I'm not saying Democrats are wrong. I'm not saying the Trump voters are wrong. I'm not saying Trump is wrong. All I'm saying is that if Democrats strongly believe that they are right and the election was fair and Biden did in fact win, then they should vote for Mitch McConnell's bill. And that would create a committee, an election committee, which would elect 9 Democrats, and it would elect 9 Republicans to sit on that committee. So it's going to be fair because you have both sides of the aisle there. It's not one-sided. It's not biased to the Trump voters or Republican view, and it's not biased towards the Democrat view at all. It's going to be bipartisan, right? So if they all agree that the election was not fair, okay, let's give it to Trump. All right, then it is what it is, because that's what the Democrats decided to do, and that's what the Republicans decided to do. It was a bipartisan thing, right? But if it goes the other way, then it is what it is also. So that I don't have a problem with in Mitch McConnell's bill, electing an election committee. And the Section 230, I don't see no problem with Section 230 either. I think maybe they should repeal Section 230. There's a lot of parts in Section 230 that just needs to be amended. Anyways, it needs to be fixed. Some of the legislation needs to be changed. Changes definitely need to be made. So we get the $2,000 check. We get Section 230 will be repealed, and the election committee will be created. Those 3 things we'll get with Mitch McConnell's bill. But remember, Mitch McConnell did not want to start a vote. Allow the people in the Senate did not want to allow the senators to vote on his bill either. So if you live in Kentucky, call your senator. One of your senators is Mitch McConnell, and let him know, hey, you want your $2,000 stimulus check. You know that he has a bill that gives a $2,000 check in there to pass the stimulus checks, and stop being a knucklehead and stopping people from voting on the $2,000 stimulus check. Okay. Dawn says, I hope we get to 2,000 is very much needed. Yeah, it is. I mean, a lot of people need help right now. We've been into this pandemic for over 9 months, and I'm not going to become a broken record, but if you count the hundreds of thousands of people that died because of this pandemic, and the poverty, the homelessness it has created, the unemployment that it has created, it's a big mess. States have shut down, right? Many states have shut down because of this pandemic. There's even parts of states that is shut down right now because of the pandemic. Businesses had to shut down, and people's livelihoods were affected. So for the government to say, okay, you're gonna shut down, you can't go to work, your babysitter's gonna be closed, so therefore you can't go to work, right? For all of these months, and then to tell people, hey, you only get a $1,200 check for 9 months and a $600 check, and that's it. That's a slap in the face. I mean, that's just wrong. And then to turn around and give $44 billion to other countries, and then turn around and give another $740 billion to the military industrial complex for them to fight wars overseas, that's totally wrong also as well. Okay, and that should not be tolerated. So again, people, make sure that you contact your U.S. senators and you let them know that you want your $2,000 stimulus check. So sorry I couldn't get to all of your comments here that came up on the screen. But I do want to put up the petition that was shared by Dorothy. To sign a petition is to put a standalone stimulus bill. This is not Mitch McConnell's bill. This is the standalone stimulus bill that was created in the House of Representatives under Nancy Pelosi. They got 27 days left to get 100 signatures. And there's the link to sign the petition. So I may recognize maybe a few other contacts, other comments here before I end this, before I end the live stream, that is. Because there's so many comments, believe me, I can't get to all of your comments. Okay, so all right. So thank you for joining the live stream. I mean, if you've been with us the whole time, thank you so much. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up, give us a like too also. And if you haven't already, definitely go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell for notifications so you won't miss any videos as we make them here on this channel. If you're on Facebook, share this video as much as you can with your friends, your families. Share it on your Facebook pages too. Share it in Facebook groups as much as you can too also as well, because we want to get the message out to the senators in the Senate and let them know we want our $2,000 stimulus check. So from all of us here at the How to Get an 800 Credit Score family, stay safe, be blessed, and we'll see you in the next stimulus check update video. Bye for now.